It's really going online, being able to empower other people, perhaps through a podcast, just like what you do. And, being able to add value to people in the area of my expertise. Because right now, when I came back doing network marketing, most of the people I have recruited into my business were actually people drawn only through the things that I post on social media.
Welcome to MLM Nation, a podcast of leaders, by leaders, for leaders, hosted by Simon Chan. He's built a team of over 200,000 and is now a full-time MLM coach and trainer. So if you're ready to level up your business, join us now. Let's do this.
MLM Nation, this is Simon Chan. I'm fired up to bring our special guest today. We have Robert Rances. Hey, Robert, are you ready to make it happen?
All right, Simon, good morning, and good morning, everyone. Yes, I'm ready.
Robert Rances was an executive coach before he got started in network marketing. Today, he's a six-figure earner who leads a team of over 100,000 associates worldwide. He's also a peak performance scientist that uses research to help people achieve optimum performance. Robert lives in the Philippines and credits having a strong sense of purpose and his empathy towards others for his success. So, Robert, welcome to MLM Nation. I've given everyone a brief intro, but please take us more to your background. I know we've known each other for around 15 years, but what were you doing and how did you eventually get into network marketing?
Right. So, actually, I've already been doing executive coaching before finding network marketing, and then I got into network marketing, and then eventually made some, substantial income, passive income in network marketing, and that's when I went back to pursuing my lifelong, and should I say, childhood dream of becoming a scientist. And so I pursued that. I eventually became a neuroscientist and focused more on peak performance. So I had a chance of being able to identify some markers in the brain of high-performing individuals in business, in sports, as well as in music. And now I'm integrating that with, I'm trying to create, it's still an emerging theory, but I'm trying to create, a theory in which peak performance and personal sustainability can go together. Because most of the time, people are worried that when they become successful, eventually they get to sacrifice their personal sustainability or longevity. So I'm trying to merge that with, and that's exactly what I'm working on as a scientist. But continually, I still do executive coaching and also my passion, network marketing.
So how did you get started in network marketing? Who introduced you, and did you join right away, or you were skeptical? What happened?
Oh, it actually came almost like an accident, because I was pursuing this girl who was into network marketing, and she's now my wife, Selena. And of course, she offered me network marketing, and I couldn't say no to her because, as I said, I was trying to pursue her. And of course, just to give a good impression that, I'm exactly the man I was looking for. So I said yes to the offer, just like that.
So when did you actually start doing network marketing? So you joined because of her, but how long, what time period before you finally, hey, I'm going to seriously do this?
Yep. All right. So we ended up getting married. So I was introduced to network marketing in 2020. And then I was just simply observing. I was not 100% committing into it. And then we got married in 2022. And that is when I really chose that to be, a way for us to make money, and seriously pursued network marketing. And that's where I saw the beauty of being able to help other people achieve their dreams, and also at the same time get to achieve your dreams as well.
So 2020, you're talking about 3 years ago, or did you mean 2000?
I'm sorry, in 2000. 2000. And then in 2002, that's when I seriously pursued network marketing.
Yeah. Okay. I know you look young, but I was like, you're not that young. Because I remember we had met before. What made you decide to pursue it? Like from 2 years, from 2000 to 2002, what decided, hey, I should do this?
Number one, because my wife was so passionate about it. And then also I began to see the beauty of network marketing. As I've said, I first immersed for the first 2 years, not doing anything, not committing to it. And I realized it's not just about, I'm so much into finding my sense of purpose. So it's not just about money. There is definitely substantial income in network marketing if you work it out, but also the opportunity of being able to make an impact in the lives of others. That's the one that made the most impression on me, so that I felt like it was, part of my calling to be doing this business model.
So once you started doing it, how did you do? Did you have instant success or you struggled for a little bit?
Oh, we struggled for a little bit, although I leveraged on the experience of my wife. But on my part, I remember when I was, most of the time she was doing the presentation and I was only observing whether it's, table presentations back then and also big presentations. And I remember stepping into the plate and saying that I wanted to do this interdependently. And I remember traveling to a city and then doing my own presentations. And then our downlines gave my wife a feedback telling her that, I wasn't so effective and I wasn't so good at what I was doing. And they would rather, they would prefer her over me. And that's when I got challenged and I started practicing my presentation, doing, and I kept on improving myself every single day and understanding exactly my audience, the people I talk to. And then through the months, I grew. And then later on, they preferred me over my wife in terms of presentations already.
What was a turning point for you, or like a light bulb moment where things really started to take off for you, Robert?
You won't believe this, but I didn't really have a strong sense of, should I say, why when I started. I was just dedicated to just working so hard and also making sure that when I work hard, the returns would be sufficient based on how much input I give into it. So it's just, just a logical computation about when I work hard, when I bring in my talents into what I do, would I be able to reap as much or will I be rewarded? I couldn't find that in the corporate world, but I found that in our marketing. That's one. And Simon, by the way, I actually took a leave in network marketing. Not exactly that I left network marketing. I was still there for our downlines. We already had an organization. And I think you didn't know, but about 7 years ago, I took a leave from network marketing. I'm still there, but that's when I pursued becoming a scientist. And, I pursued the academia. I got myself exposed. And then eventually I came back. It's only recently that I came back actively building the business and taking the lead along with my leaders, and just, middle of this year. And if I may tell you about the turning point, is that okay?
Yeah,
so
sure.
The turning point now that I'm back after all that I've done, I'm very successful in my executive coaching. I got to coach Fortune 500 executives. And also at the same time, I'm working on, an original theory basically to contribute to the world of knowledge as a neuroscientist, specifically in business and peak performance and leadership. And then I got offered this C-suite job in the US. It's a C-suite level job with a good compensation package. But I was thinking about whether it was for me or not. And then I got invited to this birthday party. And going to the birthday party, a friend of mine, Ranel Blanco, was telling me about some of the problems in the Philippines, and we were talking about how 7 out of 10 Filipinos are dying because of degenerative diseases, how 1 out of 5 Filipinos are found to have mental health issues. And what really broke my heart was that, our, what do you call this? The National Economic Development Authority in the Philippines said it will take 120,000 pesos for a Filipino family of 4 to have a decent life. And that's when I reflected that, yes, I have good opportunities because of perhaps my credentials, and then doors are opening up for me. But I also realized that if I jump into this very stable company, it's a corporate setup. Definitely, I'd have a chance to be a captain of the ship. But also at the same time, when I look back at all the needs and what has to be, the opportunities that are in my country, especially for helping other people, that's when I reflected that I am also the captain of a ship I once built, and that was the network marketing. And there was a big opportunity to actually make a dent, at least in the history of the Philippines. If you could only reverse by 1 point degenerative diseases, help a lot of people earn as much income so that they would have a decent life. And then, and there's also another statistics that's very alarming among millennials in the Philippines, where it says that 8 out of 10 do not have their intentional vision in life. And I felt like network marketing is really a platform to be able to reach as much people as we can. And right after that, I still have not given my decision about the offer to work in this huge giant company in Texas. And then when I went home, I told my wife, I'm declining the offer. I'm doing network marketing again. And she was so surprised. The next day, I started working and then created some strategies moving towards a direction of using network marketing as a platform to be able to address those issues that we talked about on our trip to that birthday party. And that's why I'm here, fired up to do something bigger through network marketing.
That is amazing. And the whole time while you were gone for the 7 years, your business still gave you residual income, correct?
Definitely. I actually had the courage to pursue, something that I said I would be pursuing when I was still a child. It was, an unfinished business. But the reason why I had the courage was because we were able to build, a good stream of passive income for my family, and my family was good at it. And I went to top universities. It's so expensive to be able to maintain what I do, in the academia. But yet it was my network marketing income that was sustaining me as well as my family. So yeah, it did us so well through the years.
That's incredible. I just want to emphasize the point for those who are listening. Like, Robert built a business, then he walked away from it, but continued to earn and was funding his academic studies and his pursuits. Then got an offer. Obviously, Robert did very well. Got an offer to have a C-level, top executive corporate job, and then he declined and went back to building his business. So throughout your journey, this is my favorite question. What was your worst moment in network marketing? To the point that maybe you had doubts, but you did not quit, and that's why you are where you are today.
My doubts in network marketing was actually almost losing an entire line. It was my strongest line. It was because I wasn't so visible as a leader. And if I were to reflect, back then, I would say that it was because of my downline, but now I realize if I became more responsible as a leader, that would not have happened. And it happened perhaps because of, a little bit of I fell short of my leadership back then. And then this particular downline created his own organization. And eventually, after a couple of years, they lost the entire organization. It also affected me. I didn't get discouraged over the fact that I lost some people, but instead, when I reflected on it, I felt it was one of the worst that happened in my network marketing organization. But also, I learned the best lessons from there. And the best lesson was really to be better as a leader. If you want to create, better leaders under you, then you have to be a better leader as well.
Yes, definitely. And now, let's talk about peak performance. You talk about leadership, the transition to peak performance. And you use like a lot of science and research. So what's the definition of peak performance? Like, what do you mean by that?
All right. In business, it simply means being able to deliver what is being asked in terms of the bottom line. So when you talk about, organizational performance or business performance, it's all about the bottom line. At the end of the day, how much revenue, how much is our sales, and all of that. And I know that's very difficult in terms of trying to quantify the frameworks that you will use to be able to reach peak performance for an organization or for a business particularly. But yeah, I somehow dwelt into, being able, and the study that I did was actually with people who are already performing at their peak in their industry as well as in their fields. And what I did was to figure out exactly whether there are unique markers in their brains or in how their brains are actually functioning. Because we have a lot of behavioral studies around peak performance. What I wanted was to figure out exactly whether there was something happening in the brain that made them peak performers. And that's where I focused more in my study. And then I started applying. Yep. I'm sorry.
So are there markers? Are there like, what did you find out? So for example, for those who don't know, what is a marker and what can people do? So those who don't have, someone who wants to be successful, what can they do to get those markers?
All right. So the good news, Simon, is that most of it, and not most, but 100% of those are actually developed. They are not something you're born with. After all the studies and literature is very strong with that. Even my own experiments and discoveries were, supporting that as well. And the markers are, for example, if you measure that using brain imaging technologies, one of the markers is that their brains actually are more generating more these alpha waves, which is, which is characterized by calm wakefulness or calm alertness. And then at the same time, they're economically, the energy in their brains are well distributed in different regions of their brains. And that's probably why, they don't get stressed easily. Also, they get to experience peak experiences. It's something that's so difficult to explain. It's almost like out of this world experience, but high performing individuals get to experience that very often, whether they are in the field competing or just an ordinary day, and they get an idea of what to do next. It is not a form of intuition. It's really something that is accompanied by a specific mental and emotional state, and as if the person that you want to become, as well as your current emotional and psychological state, are becoming so aligned at that moment. That's big experience, and a lot of others. And all of these can all be developed so that people can grow themselves into high performers and become world class.
So you actually, because I don't know anything about science at all, so forgive me. Like, you actually analyze the brain and you see successful people with different parts of the brain have different alpha waves, different activity that other people don't have. So someone who is not successful, what can they do to get these type of markers going?
All right. So that's the exciting part, because after finding that out, I also wanted to figure out what caused it. And I ended up with the interplay of three important factors. Number one is spiritual well-being. In science, spiritual well-being is actually measured in terms of, but this is measured qualitatively in terms of your relationship with your creator or your source or with God, as well as your sense of purpose, and then peak experiences that you experience, and then its impact. And apparently literature is very strong in terms of its impact to cellular energy. And when you have a very efficient cellular energy, which means that your cells are capable of producing energy efficiently, it will also have an impact on the human brain as well as our cognition. So I'm trying to work around these three things. And practically, there are a lot of things you can do. You can enrich with nutrition. You can do regular exercise as well, exposure to sunlight, and of course, constant training, but also not only constant training in terms of skills, but also being able to carry out those skills in a way that is calm, yet very alert.
So the spiritual well-being, what other well-being there to get these markers?
Yep. Spiritual well-being is, I personally believe, I'm still trying to prove that with experiments, but from a literature point of view, we have a very strong evidence that spiritual well-being impacts cellular energy and also the quality of cellular energy, as well as, the quality of your cognition. So, it is an underlying factor for both. And we've seen that as well. If you are to interview those peak performers, they kind of score higher on spiritual well-being.
So obviously, these markers is a huge advantage. What is your daily routine like? What do you do to maintain your level of success?
Okay, so my daily routine would look like this. When I wake up in the morning, of course, I start by switching on my metabolism. When I start, I'm not so much into fitness. I maintain a very busy life. And so what I do when I wake up is that I do this 90-second switch on, which is an exercise of that for 30 counts of 3 specific exercises. And within the 30 minutes that I do that, I go down and then take my coffee and then add on some, for example, good fats into it, just so that it will get my metabolism going. And I do my prayer, my devotion, and my meditation will work for me in terms of meditation, because a lot of people actually, they think meditation is such a mystery. But if you are to demystify it, meditation is simply being able to detach from your emotions and your thoughts and, being able to regain your consciousness because you're detached from it. What worked for me in terms of meditation is actually the biblical form, search me, O God, and I get to expose myself. And for example, in a worship song, and then suddenly I get to detach myself. search myself for the past day and currently how I'm feeling, how I can be better. And I just saturate myself with, it's called in science as loving kindness meditation. So I get to saturate myself with the love of God and also rehearse, because meditation has, two parts. Number one is being able to detach, and second is being able to rehearse. So I get to rehearse in my mind who I will be for the day, and just embody love and all of that. But apparently also with these people, when they get to with the subjects we had when we studied peak performance, we noticed that a lot of these people, if not majority of them, actually, just if you were to define it simply, of course, that is now it is in science, but if I were to define it simply as an observer, I would say that subconsciously these people are actually operating in love. So, they do what they do, whether it's sports or business or what, it's always about operating in love. And that's how they get to be better than others, because this mechanism, there must be something about this mechanism that will bring out the best in humans.
And so doing loving, meaning like serving others instead of being like a selfish and trying to make as much money for yourself. Would that be an example?
Yep. Perhaps operating in love is really being able to see what value you can add on other people but first, instead of just simply thinking about how much can I earn from what I do, right?
Yes. How important is consistency to success?
Very, very important. From a neuroscience point of view, all right, consistency is very important, but it's not just consistency. It's also important that we build consistency around the future that we want. Because there are a lot of people who are consistent about just simply echoing their past, or consistent about simply making decisions so that the past would not happen again. In that case, people are not moving forward. So it's important to have an awareness of exactly where you want your life to be. And then you rehearse that every day, build consistency in terms of habits and actions and intentions so that you continually become the person that you want to be.
Yeah, so good. I love the neuroscience part. What is, you've been in network marketing for so long now. How have you seen the profession change?
All right. For me, because I'm now looking at the profession right now, not only as a network marketer, but also as a researcher and as a scientist. And I think there's so much potential in network marketing. After the pandemic, everything has changed. Of course, for example, in the Philippines, when you look at literature, when you look at the studies, growth in the Philippines in network marketing is driven by three things. Number one is doing it online. Second is urbanization. That is where most of the growth in network marketing in the Philippines is happening. And the third one is due to the middle class. And these are people who are still involved in economic activities, not necessarily the wealthy ones, but particularly the ones with status and influence. So I think that's a big change in terms of how network marketing is done in the Philippines. For the longest time, it's about people who don't have as much earning. So when I came back doing network marketing right now, I focused on those three, and significantly in just a few months, we started to really see significant results and growth in our organization. And we were surprised at how people with status and influence actually love the concept of network marketing so much, if only we are able to package it in a way that is resonant to them. Because most of the time, network marketing is perceived as, something that is, culturally not acceptable by a lot of people. But yet also a lot of network marketing leaders are so entrenched to doing network marketing culture in a way that they're culturally accustomed to. It will take, perhaps some innovation so that, we become more aware how entrenched we are with the old ways of doing network marketing and start to implement creative strategies to be able to win those segments in society that we have not yet won. Secondly, I think there's going to be a major change, a major growth in network marketing, pending some empirical studies that are being done right now. And I'm so surprised when I did an independent study in network marketing that there are a lot of empirical research in network marketing, but apparently a lot of network marketings are not making use of them. And I have done independent studies on them as well. 3 of them. Number 1 is individual level success factors in network marketing to figure out what kind of training we actually push at the individual level for our associates. Second is leadership strategy and culture in network marketing, but particularly in the context of in the Philippines for this particular study, the second one I mentioned, and the third is attrition in network marketing. Sometimes when we build network marketing, we are so used to the old ways of doing it, we never get to question it. And I think with empirical research, we have facts that will allow us to question whether the ones that we're using are still working or not. And then we can tailor fit our approaches right now that is most appropriate for the market and the changing behaviors of the people we're targeting.
Yeah, I think definitely so much changes just in the last 3-4 years with TikTok, changing to COVID, and yeah, it's changed a lot. How can you minimize attrition? Because you brought it up.
I'm sorry?
How can you minimize attrition? All
right. So in my study, I actually did, of course, ethnographic study on this, and also at the same time some surveys. I combined that, and this is what I found out is there are actually different phases of growth in network marketing. The first phase of growth in network marketing is what we call the romance phase. This is where people get to find the opportunity in network marketing, and suddenly they say, "I'm going to get rich." And then I get to pay all my debts. I'm going to buy my car and all, and they get excited until they get disrupted by the difficulties of doing network marketing. This is where they enter the second phase, which is the reaction phase. And it's the first attrition in the life of a network marketer or in the life of a network marketing organization actually happens on the second phase. Because, there's going to be a dip in terms of their emotional states, much lower than the normal states they were before they found network marketing. So can you imagine the dip from getting so excited and then suddenly their emotional states go down like this, even below the normal state before they found network marketing? And a lot of people are not able to handle that. So and first attrition or first potential for attrition actually happens there. And I think one of the reasons why we are not able to navigate that for people is simply because of the hype culture. We get people to, just hype them over network marketing. We don't really prepare them for the worst that would happen in network marketing. And, I'm sure you've heard about the growth mindset, right? And I believe that growth mindset should be introduced not later in the growth of a network marketer, but it should be introduced at the earliest phase so that people will start to understand how they would navigate their emotions and also their decisions when they go through, bad feedback, failure, and, when it takes a lot of effort for them to actually bounce back. So reaction stage, that's where first attrition happens. Now, supposing people are able to recover that, they go through the next stage, which is recognition stage. This is where they get to recognize that, the challenges of network marketing are actually normal. And it's the same challenges that people actually go through when they are also in a new career or transitioning in their lives. But unfortunately, in my observation, it doesn't happen naturally. There needs to be a jump off from the reaction stage to the recognition stage. In other words, there has to be a decision for people to be able to jump off and say, this is normal, I embrace this. And once they are able to embrace that, then eventually they will grow towards recovering their natural emotions and then moving past that towards what we call the resolution stage. This is where they get resolved that, I want to do a career in network marketing. I just have to grow myself even more so that I get to surpass all the challenges in network marketing. But prior to moving from recognition to recognition, there's going to be another form of attrition. And in my study, I was able to identify a few. One of them is, I actually made an acronym of that, of ABCD. One of them is what we call, let me just, as much as I could recall, one of them is called burnout, right? So even if people get to recognize that all of these things are normal and they have to outgrow them, but eventually because of pursuing goals and they're not able to pursue them, even if they're resolved, some people would experience burnout. Others would experience disappointment along the way, disappointment due to their uplines, their organization, or even their company, or, even with the industry. And another factor would be entrenchment or facade of success. They get to take on a lot of pressure trying to look successful when in fact they're actually struggling in their business. And all of these realities that they would have to go through. Again, it will take another jump off to get there, right? So I already mentioned that there are 2 points in which attrition would happen. One is during the reaction stage, and the other one would be in between the recognition and the resolution stage. In between that, before they could jump up. And the last one, attrition, can also happen during the replication stage. Replication stage would need an understanding and being able to grow as a leader. And in fact, if the leader doesn't grow, if the leader is entrenched in the old ways of doing things, the leader has a tendency to put some standards that are apparently not so, should I say, not so sharp and tested. And we get to pass on simply the traditions and not necessarily real strategies for people to become more successful. And most of the time, because of this, people keep on trying again and again because they're prescribed by the leader. And yet at the end of the day, nothing happens. And because of that, people would say, perhaps this is not really for me because, I've climbed up and I've stayed here long enough. And this is where we get to see people who are experienced network marketing, and yet there's still a fallout. So in my opinion, and based on my studies, attrition actually happens 3 times. All right. If it doesn't hit you the first time during the reaction, it will revisit you again before you can move past or jump off towards the resolution stage. It will hit you one more time when you already have an organization and you realize you don't have that leadership and you feel so burdened about carrying an entire organization. And this is, as I've observed, some people even quit because of that.
Yeah, amazing stuff. I have to go back and listen to this and put this in the show notes page. I'll do a little recap afterwards. But hey, Robert, you've been amazing. We're going to kind of go towards the end of the show, wrap it up. But some really quick questions to pick your brain. And these can be quick 1 sentence. Okay.
All right.
First one, what is one of your favorite success quotes that motivates you?
All right. I'm a very spiritual person. So it's work as if you've never prayed and pray as if you've never worked.
What's one habit that's helped you become successful?
Consistency of purpose.
What's the best advice you ever received?
Keep on growing. There's no end to growing.
What's your favorite prospecting tool? So say you have a qualified prospect right now. Do you do a one-on-one meet with them? Do you do a Zoom? Do you send a video? What tool do you like to use?
Number one, there are vital tasks in network marketing. You can be so busy at everything, but first and foremost, it's very important to do prospecting and stuff like that contribute to your production. And of course, keep on growing. But if I were to sum up the tools, we created what we call Carpe Diem, seize the day. It's a tool that will help us track our activity and consistency.
Okay, so but what do you present to a prospect?
Apparently today I get to attract a lot of people through my Facebook. So there were quite a number of people following me, and that's where I got most of my new prospects now.
Okay, but so how do you present to them? Do you do on Zoom a present, or do you meet them to present?
It's a mix. So I still do a Zoom presentation and also at the same time meet them face to face.
What's your favorite app on your phone that's not a social media app?
Favorite app that's not a social media app. It's funny, but I don't remember one at this point in time. I'm sorry.
What's on your home screen on your phone?
Okay, so let me see what I always use on my phone. Well, the one I always use on my phone is actually, what do you call this? I use, but it's still social media. I use my Drive a lot.
To my Drive, there we go.
I use my Drive a lot. Transfer of information and tools.
Yes. Mike, you talk about Google Drive or Icon?
Google Drive, exactly.
Google Drive.
I love using it.
What are 2 or 3 books you could recommend to ML Nation?
Number 1 is Principles by Ray Dalio. Second would be Growth Mindset. So I think for network marketing, these are the 2 things that I really push people to read. Number 1, Ray Dalio, and then Growth Mindset.
And here's
perhaps the next book that I will be writing.
Oh, you got to let us know when you write the next book, and we got to have you back on.
I reserved the third one for my book.
Okay, I like that. So, Robert, here's the last question, the $1 million question. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine you had to start all over again and you knew no one. You didn't even know your wife, right? You're like a contact list was zero, but you had all your current knowledge, skills, and wisdom. What's the first thing you would do to find prospects and build a network marketing business from scratch?
Yeah, I've always thought about it. It's really going online, being able to empower other people, perhaps through a podcast, just like what you do. And, being able to add value to people in the area of my expertise. Because right now, when I came back doing network marketing, most of the people I have recruited into my business were actually people drawn only through the things that I post on social media.
Hey, as we wrap up, any last words or advice? And then what's the best way our listeners can connect with you, Robert?
All right. The best way to connect with me is actually through my email, robrances@gmail.com. I also have my LinkedIn. So drop a message on my LinkedIn, even my messenger. It's still the same, Rob Rances. The last piece of advice is never, ever, ever, ever quit. And if you were to break down peak performance, it's actually just hard work on really pursuing challenging goals, and also hard work to keep on improving yourself until you're able to accomplish that challenging goal.
And my mission, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And today, you've been hanging out with Robert Rances. So keep up the momentum and go to mlmission.com, click on the podcast tab and the show notes and all the nuggets of wisdom, including the links to Robert's email, LinkedIn. Definitely go follow him and reach out to him. It will all be there. Hey, in order to be successful in life, in business, and network marketing, you must help others. So, Robert, thanks again for sharing your valuable time with MLM Nation. We're grateful to you and we appreciate you for having a positive impact on millions of distributors worldwide. Thank you so much and God bless you.
God bless.
Hey, what's up, MLM Nation? It's Simon Chan here for a recap of a great episode, very different from normal, but great episode from Robert Rances. And I actually met Robert in the Philippines way back in 2008. I think 2008, 2009. I think 2008 was when we first met in person. And just watching him grow and see him take a lead from the business, but still able to earn income. And that's really, really awesome. You know what? I was tired. Just late at night here. Actually, it's not very late. It's only 8:40 p.m. But when we have kids, my 8:40, it seems like in the old days, 2 a.m. in the morning. After a long day of podcast coaching and writing the newsletter and baseball, my boys. But I was fired up for this interview because I had known Robert for a long, long time, and giving a scientific approach, right? He's obviously a scientist, very different conversation than what we normally have. But just, you talk about successful people, what they have in common, right? In the brain, the different parts of the brain are always active, and how to always have like a growth mindset. I think that's very, very important, right? I'm just looking through my notes. There's so many notes. Every leader, doesn't matter where you have, always has challenges. You got to fight through that. Those are the lessons. When Robert lost a leg, that was, we realized there was a weakness in leadership and he had to grow himself. And having a growth mindset, knowing that never quit, always work on yourself. I like what he's talked about. He breaks it down to very scientific. It's just the 5 stages of network marketing, right? The romance stage, the reaction stage, the recognition stage, the resolution stage, the replication stage, or the duplication. And in each of those, there's attrition there. And what can you do to, I like the way he breaks it down, especially when he gets more advanced, like the replication stage, when leaders don't adapt. Things you definitely have to adapt, things are changing, and then you don't grow, and then people quit, right? And you talk about changes, and I think this applies to any country, right? In the Philippines, he talks about applies to any country, how like people are more individual. So back then, what individual means people are more options, right? Like when I was in the Philippines and met Robert, they didn't have many VA, such as the VA, virtual assistant. It was just starting, I think. But now it's pretty common, right? That's another option. And then more urbanization, more people moving to cities, which creates more opportunities, right? Also the growth of the middle class. right? In the middle class, I think that is something everywhere where in the past, I would say 20 years ago, it was mostly poor people or people who weren't that successful, struggled will get into network marketing. Now you have more and more people who come from a successful background, successful career, choosing to network, going to network marketing. So really good stuff. And do things you love, just being a servant, serving people, right? Having empathy and serving people. When you serve, and that's when you don't have that, you don't have a strong why, it's not going to happen. So it's when you have that strong why, that vision and that purpose to help others, that's when you're going to run through a brick wall to do that, right? Because it's not about you. We all give up on ourselves, but we don't give up on others. A lot of great stuff here. And I thought about success is just about hard work. I like that you put hard work and growing. And if things are not working, focus on the growth mindset. Think of how can you get better, right? And some of you were listening, you may be new listening, you may be in a romance stage. Network marketing is great, but you haven't gone through the reality yet. And when reality, it is going to get bad, right? But that's when you're going to grow. And like there's a saying, there's no testimonials unless you're tested. And so if you're going through a tough time, you're being tested right now for your future testimonial. Anyway, I'm Simon Chan. I'm loud and proud to be a part of this amazing profession. Thank you for listening. Thanks again to Robert Rances. Hey, but before we leave, these episodes are not free. They take a lot of my time, especially tired right now doing it. Robert Rances in the Philippines. During his lunchtime, he's doing this. So make sure you follow him. Also, subscribe to this on wherever you're listening to this on a podcast, and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. And that will really mean a lot. So, hey, promise you're going to do that? That keeps the episodes going. Anyway, that's all I have for you. Make sure you go to MLMNation.com, check out the show notes, and follow Robert. And that's all I have. Hey, I'm loud and proud to be part of this amazing profession. Now it's up to you to take action and go out there and have a positive impact on someone's life. God bless you all.